to kind of push that aside and just take care of business the way you guys need it?
Yeah, you talk all year. It's a faceless opponent you're playing against, and really the opponent's yourself. We win. Don't look at results. Look at the process of, having a great Monday, having a great Tuesday, no matter who you're playing, whether it's South Dakota State, North Dakota, don't matter. That you're more focused on what you are doing, how you're executing, the consistency in our preparation, the consistency in our execution, the consistency in the mindset that you got to come ready to play in the Missouri Valley Football Conference every week, no matter who you're playing. So in all those areas, that's probably where I saw the most improvement this week. And, to see defense play 4 quarters, special teams making some plays, because we really challenged the special teams. We emphasize that you win championships with special, and we haven't been close. So, we challenged our young men this week. We got to get more out of our special teams. And I thought we saw that today also.
After they score on the opening drive, it seems like the defense was able to kind of settle in. What did you kind of see from them throughout the rest of the game?
I never, my wife can tell. The first drive of any football game, I don't get too excited or too low because, even for us, a lot of that is openers. Those are scripted, from based on what they saw in film. So usually you wait until about the second, third, and fourth quarter when the game really gets in, when you get into situational football and third down and red zone. So, you kind of take that first one, okay, settle down. Okay, let's play the next series. And our offense, we knew, our goal this week was to make sure when we got in the red zone, we scored touchdowns. I think the one we didn't, we kicked a field goal there before half.
The defensively on third down was key. You held them to, 3 of 13?
Yeah, I saw that. And they were probably 3 of 3 on that first drive, or, pretty close to it in the first half. So, again, on third down, getting off the field, getting our offense to football, possessing the football. We feel good when our offense gets to football, and we got to get off the field. And defense, I thought, did a great job in their preparation, focusing on the process, not the end result. And now that consistency you got to do week in and week out.
I'd ask both the same question I asked you. Everything's clicking on all cylinders for you, but it's actually fun today, coaching the team.
It's like Christmas every time you play a game. And I know the stress of winning and the stress of overcoming, but it's fun to see the execution in practice become game reality. So seeing what works in practice is working in games, I think that's the biggest joy you get, and that's what you want to see. As coaches, what's our job? Our job is to make sure our players can succeed and be successful and finding out what they can do. And to take that from the practice field to the game, that's what you work hard all year to do. You only get 12 guaranteed games, and you remind the guys going out, this is game 8. We don't get another game 8. We got to go out there and execute, and I thought our guys did that.
This seemed to be a very physical game. A lot of hard hitting.
Yeah. I really believe they're doing a great job at Murry State. I do, and Jody Wright is bringing in good football players. They play fundamentally sound, but gentlemen, I can look back to the COVID years and what it took to come and try to be consistent. And we've been there. We've been there when going 1-6. We've been there going 3-7, and it's still you're climbing that hill each and every week. But we knew that they had good football players and that they were going to keep fighting till the end. And, I don't like seeing personal fouls. That's when I don't ever want to see someone get hurt because of a personal foul. So, those are the areas, we got to make sure we clean up, that we're not part of that on both sides.
You talk about respecting the game, respecting the opponent, and I was down on the sidelines, and some supporters are down there. You're up 45-17. You got Bo and Max saying you're throwing the ball. Is there something?
Oh, no, not at all. College football today, you got to keep the gas on. And we've been in games where you got a 35-7 lead, and guess what? We lost it. We lost the game. So, the hard thing is, when do you take the gas off? We're not just going to sit up there and hand the ball off. If they're giving us something, we're going to take advantage of it. So I think when you play you coach in college football, you got to expect that. There's no white flag. I've been on the other side of that, and guess what? We had to play better. We had to prepare better on defense, so we don't give up those plays. So for us, it's, if we're going to be in there and we're going to be in there with our guys, we're going to keep the gas down to the ground. There, I think with 5 minutes left, you could see, hey, let's run this clock and let's get out of here quickly.
Was there any hesitation even after Max took that hard hit over the middle and was down for a couple minutes there?
No, I mean, the game of football is physical. I've seen guys get hurt on non-contact. So, for me, Max said when he got up from there, he goes, hey, I'll take more throws to me and take that hit. So again, we want to take care of our young men. When do you get them out? When do you put them in? And we haven't been in many of these type of games, where we have the opportunity to get some young guys in. It was great to see the last 6 minutes to get some young offensive linemen, young defensive linemen, Colin Siebert there at quarterback. Donald Barksdale, a true freshman running back, to see him get carry, we knew he has a little different gear and will be tremendous for us in the future.
The double pass to Bo that he was able to turn into the touchdown, is that something that you guys, you talked about how, putting in those trick plays, working on those was something that you worked on this offseason. Was that something that you guys had to really do?
Yeah, you practice it until you're ready to make a withdrawal. You're collecting interest on it and practicing it. We probably put that in, weeks and weeks ago. And, we come out in the third quarter, and that hasn't been great for us. And so, when the play was called, we've executed it all week, and to see it, now Bo has a receiving touchdown.
Is there anything different you're going to try to do this week because you're going into a dome? I'm going to enjoy this victory, Kristen. I'm going to, before I even think about the Fargo Dome. So, give me at least till tomorrow to get through this film. And, we play in 3 domes this year, and they are difficult. This one's going to be extremely loud, and, we'll have a plan going in. Something I want to mention is, we had 3 guys out, to see Graydon Rollins. We had Preston Zandier out today, and see Graydon Rollins step up and get his 3rd career start at linebacker was huge. And, Michael Voitis was out, and to see other guys there. And Joseph Farah, we had to reshuffle the offensive line. So it gets to this time of year, and the guys that rose up and were able to execute, a shout out to those guys. And those other guys will be back, and it just builds depth within our program.
Speaking of that, I saw Dathan kind of went through warm-ups and pads,
Yeah.
and then to start the game, he took the pads off.
Yeah.
What kind of hit that?
He came. He's close. He's close. We believe he'll be back this week. And he came up to me, Coach, man, if I get a chance, I'll keep these pads on. And, for us, we want the safety. And, we talk to our strength staff. We talk to our trainers. And, was he cleared to play? He was clear, but I still think, it was like the Ethan Wright thing. If we saw him, he warmed up against Michigan State, warmed up against Towson. He's practicing again. And then the right time to put him in because, one of those upper body injuries, I just want to make sure he's close to 100%. It's hard being 100%. Week 9, but I want to see the strength coming back, that he had before his injury. But I think he'll be ready to go.
Thanks, Nick.
Good luck.
Thanks, guys.